My guess is most of you, either in college or in graduate school, have taken a finance class, and you've learned about income statements and balance sheets and statements of cash flow. And these are incredibly valuable things and experiences and really learnings for business leaders to have. But over the last couple of years at Carnegie Mellon, as I've been spending more and more time with people who aspire to go into product leadership, whether this is product leadership as an entrepreneur or product leadership in a product management role inside of a larger company, I've come to realize that a lot of the finance material that we teach you really treats the atomic unit of the financial statements as the overall company, right? How is the overall company or the division or more so the org structure or entity structure of these businesses doing? But for product leaders, really an even much more important and more significant question is to look at these same questions of financial health, but do it from the perspective of the atomic unit being the products or services that are sold, instead of focusing on the overall division or group. And when you do this, it really changes your perspective and delivers some really incredible benefits as a product leader. And so a couple of years ago, I piloted a course at Tepper Business School called Finance for Product Managers, and it was really well received. And in this course, we spent a little bit of time walking through kind of what that meant, the things to focus on, and then how to ultimately help raise the acumen or financial literacy, if you will, of these future product business leaders by going through this course that we ultimately called Finance for Product Managers. And the course was really well received, and I've had a number of MBA students ask me, hey, can I get that content? Could I take that class? And for a variety of reasons, it's not offered as often anymore. And so I thought what I would do is I would put that on this YouTube channel and give anybody who's interested in the content a chance to consume it. So this is just kind of the introduction. We're going to set up why I think this topic is important, what you're going to learn over these series of videos, and then there'll be a video that comes out every week. And if you're watching this after the video came up, you can go through the playlist and watch as many of them as you want. So why is it so important to think about metrics or financial metrics specifically, where the unit is the product instead of the unit being the company overall? Well, the first reason that's really important is that it becomes an unlock. We talk a lot in entrepreneurship about product market fit, but the reality is that there's a related but just as important concept for entrepreneurs, which is revenue model product fit. I think Google is really one of the best examples of this. Google for years and years developed this really incredible utility they were offering consumers to search on the internet. But at the time, it really wasn't clear how valuable search was in terms of real estate on the internet. And today that feels crazy. But it wasn't that long ago that thought leaders were interviewing the founders of Google, asking them questions like, well, how are you ultimately going to make money? I remember I was at a conference once with John Battelle, one of the best interviewers in the technology industry. And he was pushing Larry and Sergey, the founders of Google, how are you going to make money? How are you going to make money? And finally, one of them, just exacerbated, said to him, look, worst case, we'll run a punch the monkey ad on the website. Right? If you remember back to that point in the internet's evolution, Yahoo and other sites ran those display ads with the monkeys across the top, and you could try to click on the monkey, i.e. punch the monkey, and that would drive you to another site. And it was, frankly, terrible inventory relative to where we ultimately landed. But at the time, it was how we were thinking about monetizing search traffic. Now, with cost per click advertising and really monetizing attention, Google ultimately realized there was a much better revenue. And today, it just feels obvious that search traffic and search inventory are some of the most valuable pages on the internet. Right? And the reason for that, again, is because there had been revenue model product fit. And so when you look at this perspective of the health and financial literacy of a business from a product perspective instead of a company perspective, it opens up this ability to really think about innovating and unlocking value around the revenue model. And we'll talk a lot more about that in a future video. Secondly, it really helps you avoid what a lot of growth stage investors call profitless prosperity. The concept being that you lose money on each unit of sale that you deliver to a customer. This is different than businesses that have high fixed costs, and so they may not make money in aggregate across the business. But on a unit basis, it's incredibly important for the product leaders to make sure that on a unit basis, the services and products that they're selling are profitable, right? Because it avoids this profitless prosperity. I think in the last few years, there's no better example of profitless prosperity than WeWork. And frankly, a lot of the corrections that came right around this WeWork time, right? From a unit economic perspective, it was not working. It's fine to lose money when you're, a tech company with incredibly high gross margins per individual product that you're selling, but it looks really different when you have real estate gross margins instead of tech gross margins. But the point again is this lens of looking at products and the atomic unit being a product instead of a company allows you to avoid this very real trap of profitless prosperity, whether you're a product leader inside a brand new startup or a product leader inside a larger company. And finally, it's really important to help you understand where to invest to drive growth. It's a great book I read about a year ago called The Outsiders by Will Thorndike. And in the book, he talks about CEOs as capital allocators. And it's a concept that I've continued to really appreciate since reading the book. And I realized for product managers, the key to being a good capital allocator is really to understand this concept of finance, where the atomic unit is the product itself. And so to me, the reason this is so important, again, is that it's going to help you think about unique unlocks for your business. It's going to help you avoid this really common trap of profitless prosperity. And it's going to help you be a good capital allocator as you figure out how to scale your business. And so over the next series of weeks, we're going to release a video a week in this series on finance for product managers. And broadly, those are going to fall into 4 different modules. The first one is going to really start by looking at this concept of revenue models. Because in the same way that, when you think about an overall financial statement, you've got to look at where cash is and the debits and credits around that. When you think about finance for product managers, one of the important things to do here is to make sure you understand the revenue model that the product has, because that's going to ripple through on a lot of how you look at the other things. Then we're going to talk about analyzing the current financial performance of different products, as well as forecasting future performance, before finally getting into this concept of how do you build the business case for growth. Remember, we want you to be a great capital allocator as a product leader as well, and we can't do that without you first understanding kind of how to build those business cases. So with that, those will be what we'll cover. I hope you really enjoy this. If you're looking forward to this like I am, please consider subscribing, and would love feedback on it in the comments below. Hope you enjoy the upcoming videos.